Hello, I'm Peter Bruck. I'm happy to moderate and lead you in this interesting conversation, which starts off the European Young Innovators Festival 2022, especially the online version. And please welcome with me Tanja Wehsely from Volkshilfe in Vienna, in Austria. Then we will have Artem Kornetskyy from the School of something in Ukraine. Artem, you will explain to us. I know that you're also working at the Ukrainian Catholic University and you're the founder of a number of startups. And we talked to Barbara Domaradzka, who is the SME advisor at the MOS Foundation. That's the Mobile Open Society and Technology Foundation in Poland. And then finally, we will hear from Maximilian Lakitsch, who is one of the leading researchers in conflict studies in Austria at the Peace Democracy Cluster at the University of Graz. Welcome to you all.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
While we are happy to meet, the world is on fire in many ways. We have a strong sense in many countries in Europe, especially young people, that they are not heard. People glue themselves to streets, to tarmacs at airports. They are going into museums not to look at art, but to look at the value our society gives to art and attention it gives to art, and use that to focus on the crisis which they have. And we have basically very much the sense of that what we are doing in the European societies is not enough to stem the climate change and to mitigate the crisis which is coming along. And it's not enough to fight the aggressive war which is waged by the Russian Federation against Ukraine. It is not enough to basically also deal with the economic changes which we are having through the energy crisis, the inflation, and also the post-COVID effects. This gives us a horizon which is not as happy as we would like to be, but it's not something where we can afford to be disheartened. The focus of our conversation this morning is European cooperation. The European Young Innovators Festival is unique in connecting people and building up what you would call the connection and the network capital of people. First, I want to ask you, Tanja Wehsely, you are working with one of the leading social enterprises in Austria. It's an agency which deals with all levels of different kind of concerns, from looking after the aged to operating kindergartens. You are having a lot of impact in a big metropolitan environment like Vienna and the Eastern Austrian region, which is facing a lot of issues through migration, welcoming a lot of refugees, migrants from the Ukraine, but also from all around the world. Give everybody who is listening in here now an overview of how you are dealing with personally, but also institutionally with this horizon of crisis, and what you see as an agenda for European cooperation for young people.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Peter. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Personal message. Good that young people are radical. Good that young people speak their minds. You will always get resistance if you speak your mind. That is the nature of advocacy and speaking out for something. And stay positive. It's the only life you have and the only time you live in. So it does not matter how it was 20 years ago. You can shape how it is in 20 years. It's good that you know where you're coming from, but the way and the steps, you have to go them yourself. So do not be intimidated and do not think too much about how life could be if it was another life. So this is my personal view on things. And it gets me through the day because the way you said it, Peter, Volkshilfe, People's Aid, really big social organization in welfare, daycare, refugee care, shelters, homeless people, getting back on track in the labor market. I'm really happy that we are based in Vienna, based in Austria, and also in Europe, because I do think that the social welfare and welfare states got us through all the multi-crisis that we're facing right now pretty well. It's going to get worse in the next few months with the energy crisis and inflation. So Volkshilfe, we are many other NGOs that are in the field of social welfare. We're getting prepared for subsidizing and supporting living costs, housing costs, energy costs. This is what we do in a great deal right here now, and planning for the next few months. And then we will see. European ways for me should really be sticking to the social impact, the social content, speaking out against I don't know how you what the word is, how you would say that in English, really. Maybe somebody can help me out. In German, you say Überreichtum. People that are way too rich. Like, I don't know, the one we're looking at right now is always Elon Musk, I guess. Everybody then
Super
knows.
influence, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Stay grounded and shape your surrounding in solidarity, because everybody needs it. So we really have to fight stuff that does not support a majority in our society.
Thank you, Tanja. I think it's very important for you as running a big organization that you map out what it is. And also, I think one of the things I want to hear from you more is later on how you can basically include young innovators in your own organization to have a European connection.
Yeah, I will.
You are sitting in Kiev. It's a privilege for us to have you. I think everybody sends you their hearts and possibly also their radiators. Tell me from your side, how do you think young people can hack the crisis besides taking up arms now in Ukraine?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me. And, participating in discussions like this is something normal that I used to do a lot before, but I don't do a lot now. I'm not going to, put facts about the war here. You probably read the news and you know everything of that. That's horrible and terrible. Of course, one thing is to read it, and another thing is to be in the epicenter of it. I'm in Kyiv right now. I guess I am more lucky than a lot of people in the east and in the south of the country. And yeah, we try to manage with everything that's happening right now. And for the last weeks, it's been tougher. We've been shelled. Our infrastructure is being shelled. We don't have electricity quite often. We don't have. We have also water supply and heating problems. And we also try to work with that. And in terms of working with youth and what we do, actually we managed to conduct social impact award Ukraine this year. My organization is organizer of this big program, as probably you know it, and we even managed to send some of our winners to Vienna to participate in a summit, which I'm very happy about. And probably the best thing we could tell the youth and those who are trying, to be operational in times like that is just to keep going. Just don't stop and do what you can. Yes, it's getting worse, and yes, you have to work more to keep going. But that helps. This feeling of that you can move on, you can do something, you just don't stop. That itself helps a lot. Just to just to feel yourself as a human being. And we also have other projects, and yeah, I try to balance between academia and practical activities. I believe that you have to do both in order to be effective. So I do teaching at the Ukrainian Catholic University. I teach social entrepreneurship there. I have students. This university is in Lviv city, and we also try to keep going. We even have some offline classes, and most of the courses are on, and students are writing their master theses, for example. So we as I said, we try to keep going. And on the other hand, I run the NGO called School of Me, and we conduct projects aimed to support social entrepreneurs, those who are willing to start operations or those who are already operational, and we help support them with expertise, mentorship, education, and even with some grant money. We also started a fund 2 years ago. It's called Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, and this fund is aimed to support social ventures in Ukraine with grant money. And I'm also happy to tell you that the fund is operational, and we just closed the round of applications to support social ventures there. And we had one more after the war started, so the second one for the last 8 months. So my recipe would be just, as I probably will tell you this third time, just keep going. And of course, we support our army. Of course, we are thankful for the support of the entire world and the EU. And unfortunately, it is still not enough right now. It's not enough of our effort. It's not enough of our effort with a lot of support we receive. But we all believe it will be enough soon to end this, not just end this, but to win this, because it's fair that we will win. And this is what Ukrainians believe right now. Thank you.
I find it very interesting that you say that your Ukrainian Social Venture Fund, that you just closed another round. That's something which would be really interesting to everybody to know. What did you see new and learn new in this round, and what were the proposals you got, and maybe 2 or 3 highlights from that?
Yes, those highlights are quite logical. The most of the applications we received are from the ventures that were there already before the war. Now it's harder probably to start a new venture, and a lot of those who were operational before are trying to get some support in terms of to change operations, to change territory, to move somewhere, or to start other other types of operations, to start selling a new products, maybe change their impact model in order to help army more, or some foundations that support things connected to the army. So it's kind of a tool for adaptation, I would say. These rounds of our funds is to help those ventures to adapt to the changes that happen right now. And yeah, probably I don't remember exact numbers, but a lot of them are ventures that moved from the territories in the east or in the south to other territories.
Okay, so it's very much a try to cope with a very dire situation regarding the war, and also to align more with the national effort. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. Barbara, I mean, you are working in Poland, you're working with the Most Foundation, and you're also focusing on small and medium-sized enterprises in terms of sustainable development. what is the dimension you give to European cooperation now, and with what kind of priorities do people align now in Poland, especially young people? Barbara, please.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Peter, for your question. So according to the situation, as you mentioned at the beginning, the war, the climate changes, which Tanja was also talking about, Poland is the first place where most of the Ukrainian refugees comes. So right now, over 1 year, we are so focused about helping them. Yes, in most foundation, for example, we brought some proposal with cooperation with impact hubs from Odessa or Bucharest and Vienna for leadership and social entrepreneurship support for Ukrainian women. Because from our point of view, most of the group which needs this kind of support are women which came here with the children. So it's very basic needs. Yes, some kind of childcare, some kind of materials to survive in school, for example. Yes, also the place for work. I'm a mentor with Ashoka, and also I'm a mentor with this business academy, where I have meetings with Ukrainian women, which have this very prosaical from my point of view problems, like they have a curriculum vitae and their company was registered in Moscow, so nobody wants to hire them in Poland right now. It's really very heartbreaking, I have to admit. So we are changing, we are looking for connection, and those are the young women. I want to underline. Yes, it's not people over 40, it's very young women with very small children, like 21, 25, 30. So it's our young entrepreneurs. They're looking for a place for themselves here. At the beginning, Poland there was a situation in May when we have 1 million refugees. When it came to September, it was coming down signs, but right now, because of the electrical crisis, it's still rising once again. So we start to support also by cooperation with the city, with the local government in Warsaw and also in Krakow, to find the places, because I'm thinking that the most challenging for the young entrepreneurs which are coming to Poland as refugees is finding a place to stay when you have the roof under your head, yes, over your head. So it's very, very challenging. But coming back to your question, because it's the way we support Ukrainian young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurships and inventors, and also refugees, of course, because most of those people are people very well educated, with PhDs, with huge background of the science or technical support, technical knowledge. So it's really very nice to work with them and cooperate, but it's very hard to provide them to find themselves in new country with different culture. Even that Poland have a huge history of supporting Ukraine, because over 19 years, yes, when it started this open borders, they came a lot of Ukrainian women once again to work. So for Poland, it's also this kind of stop point, yes, checkpoint. So how did we provide the support for this last 2 decades from 90s and 2000, from when we are facing this military crisis? And right now the Polish government is looking for solution. We are talking with the European Commission, of course, but as you know, there's a lot of disagreements. So we can only work as a society. So we provide these programs for young innovators and young entrepreneurships. We are providing some support, looking for the private fundings, because we don't have any national and governmental fundings for this kind of program, unfortunately, right now. So we are looking for the people who, hotel business owners, yes, who share their hotels, that people can stay there for 3 months for free, for example. Yes, it's not very convenient, but it's still, a safe place to work, to stay. And when Peter asked me about the sustainability, so once, for example, when we provide this leadership program for the Ukrainian women, but also we provided for the Polish young entrepreneurs, I'm a person who created with my colleague Monika, which is on maternity leave right now, and we created a sustainable business model canvas, which was focused on that. And we created just before the COVID. So we prepared launching on 16 March 2020. So, and they closed us on 19 March 2020. So we only did it online. But this is a model canvas which provides young entrepreneur about the value chain supplies, where to look for the most sustainable, partners, for example, how to design your product or your service, that it should be more sustainable, more economical, also supporting society. Yes, because we are focused about this environment aspect, economical aspect, and society aspect. So in MOS Foundation, we write a lot of grants to obtain some money, which we share with the participants, like this leadership program, which I said about a bit. We provide acceleration program, which is with cooperation with the government, Warsaw government. It's very good. Right now we have this long-term program which take 3 years. And in this program, we provide those sustainable business model canvas, which it's really fascinating. That maybe I'm so deep in this, theme, because for me it's fascinating that those are really also very well educated people, very open-minded. They know languages, they are providing some product services, but still they don't have this kind of thing about the impact which their business can provide, and that this impact can be positive, not only gaining the money, or that their solution is so wonderful that everybody will buy it, but what kind of aspects of this economical or social or environmental they can provide also. So it's really for me, it's very always surprising how this, for me it's something natural, for them it's something new. So I think there's a lot to do about educate young entrepreneurs and innovators.
Yeah, I think that what you say is very, very much also the issue in many other European countries, not just in Poland. And this kind of impact thinking is something which is actually the reason, the raison d'etre for the European Young Innovators Festival. Okay, and yes, we know, and that's our contribution. We know that you need best practice examples so that people can see how it works, what it is, and how to relate, because impact is not something which is a technology issue. It's basically a social, relational community issue, and that you want to develop, in that sense. Let me just go on to Maximilian. Maximilian, Barbara said something very interesting, that if I understood her correctly, she sees Poland now as at a checking point, looking back for the last 20 years of how to have related in the Ukraine and also in the European Union and how to move forward. It's a measuring point. Are we from your research and in terms of conflict, are we in a measuring point, and where do you see measures? And also, what is from the research side and from your academic side and the peace democracy cluster, what are your views on how to hack the crisis and what is more and more effective? Please, Maximilian.
I see those 2 points interrelated more or less. I would say crisis is always something that comes up and indicates that something's wrong. And it is, it's often superficial and to a little extent also cynical to say that you have to see the crisis as an opportunity to do something good about it. But in this case, and especially with relating it to Europe, I think it does something to our perception about political order and about normality that is unique. And I would say that unique for at least some decades, because in Europe we have come accustomed to the idea that we live in the tradition of the Enlightenment. Everything is ordered and crafted along the idea of universal rationality. We have political liberties, we have economic liberty, we have the law to protect ourselves and other agents. And in this thinking that we kind of tended to lean back on and to let everything happen with the belief that also like Enlightenment belief, everything will not only stay the way it is, but it will become better gradually. then we have those crises and they hit us. And suddenly we see that, well, it's not only that things are not getting better by themselves, but also that they were not as good as we thought before, right? Because there was already war in Ukraine before this year in the Donbass, and suddenly people said, "Oh my God, there has been war," but nobody cared about those poor souls at the border who were not sure about their life. Regarding energy, there was this greenwashing by the European Union of gas before of natural gas, which is not a good, which was not a good thing at all, and it does not any good to our energy transformation towards sustainable energies. And I could go on forever. So the world is not being a good place by itself, because countries can simply attack other countries. They simply can, because they just do it, and they have done so before. Also the US, if we remember the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and so on and so on. So I would say that we come to a point, also a turning point, I would say. We kind of tend to describe it as multiple crises, where we see that the world is not is a place that is not out of itself a good place, but we have to engage with the world in order to make it a place that we actually want to live in, because there's no other way to do this. And additionally, I would say that all those big crises, also regarding COVID-19, for example, and the climate crisis also, they make us aware that the mechanisms that are in place, the political mechanisms, are insufficient, and they are not going to handle it, not at all. The last COP conference, the result is simply ridiculous regarding the human possibilities of survival. So
let me take up your point, which I think is a very good point, regarding that the master narrative of our European societies, that normalcy is good and that everything will get better if we use our smarts, our technology, cooperation, and so on, that this is broken. Okay, we know from February 24th onward that the order, which was built up since 1989, 1990, that is broken. I mean, the assumption that nobody will ever wage a war in Europe again, that's gone. We need to look at a different way. What young people do today is they are saying the normalcy of just going on step by step regarding climate crisis, that is not good enough. This is not normal. Our society is closing. What follows from this in terms of young people dealing with this situation, besides being depressed, uncomfortable, I mean, withdrawing and saying, okay, I have to look for my private thing. I mean, that is a key issue there. And I will come back to you later on this issue. And I just want to hear from Tanja, what I asked you before regarding the European cooperation and the involvement of young people. How are you going about this in the Volkshilfe, but also on this issue of breaking the sense of normalcy and having to basically come up with a different kind of master narrative in terms of dealing with the crisis? Tanja, please. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Interesting question. I mean, I want to add, for us, it is important also the way we are here together. What is the perspectives that we normally have? I mean, I have been dealing with a lot of young people for my whole life, mostly underprivileged, often migrant, and not in families where you have a lot of academics and it's clear that you're going to be the next I don't know who all has been believing for the past, I don't know how many years, everything is great and you don't have to fight for democracy and for what we have achieved in terms of democracy, human rights, freedom of speech, the right of law. So that is kind of Maximilian kind of I don't know, puzzled me on how everybody thought everything is great and now it's not. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I think so too. And Peter, so it's all about what is your normal and where do you start from what normal? I mean, we've had, you said 89, okay, that is correct, because after that was the Yugoslavian war and we had refugee crisis and so on. And before that we had Czechia, and before that we had Hungary, and before that we had a world war. So yeah, I don't know. Really, let's try to agree what is the common ground and what is our normal. I mean, I tried to explain it in beforehand. I do not find private over rich being for me, poverty and too many rich people that are in a small cluster, they are the fiends of democracy. That is what I think. And my normal is living in solidarity together, and that now for almost everybody is clear that it is a social and a sustainable, meaning ecological impact. If there has to be a whole new big narrative, I cannot answer, Peter. I don't really think so. I do not think that everything is broken. I think mending is a good thing. We're talking about circular economy and sustainability, so let's try mending before, breaking everything down. Yeah, and young people, I think every one of us has said it by now. Keep going. So what I find really important, and you just said it before, Peter, we need those networks that we have here in the WSA, that we have with the Social Impact Awards, that we have with Ashoka, that we have with big social welfare, small social welfare companies like mine, in order to be able to work together when things get rough. So we can never forget. So maybe that's why I'm not understanding all the arguments, because dealing with poverty and with people that are, always kind of on the edge and marginalized, we have to have those strong networks in order to be there when people really need help. When they don't really need help, we move forward and we have our projects and we're trying to solve things, always with the social impact. That is very important for me. I'm repeating, sustainability, ecology, social terms go together. It's not, we're not going to be able to, divide it and one is this and one is this. It goes together, but especially stay in those networks, because you see how we can, help all together when really you say shit hits the fan.
Are you from the Volkshilfe able to take young innovator women from Ukraine and give them some opportunity to work for the next 6 months so that they can stay in a warm place and have a meaningful activity?
We are having the counseling and the help for the integration, for getting into the labor market, for housing in shelters and in private places, and supporting also with shelter, housing, money, labor market. We have a lot of Ukrainian refugees also in Volkshilfe Wien, mostly in supporting and counseling. We are not the innovation hub that can take in all the innovators, but we do support them getting contacts, getting jobs within the ecosystem, and employing themselves and supporting them. But the support part, that is our job. So we do that anyway.
Artem, can you do a little bit more than Tanja with this issue of breaking the master narrative and the 24th of February being actually the turning point for the, let's say, normalcy?
Yeah, Peter. Regarding what you've told about the concept of normality, I believe that everyone has to accept it before we can work with it, right? If you develop digital economy, working on new types of entrepreneurship, which is social entrepreneurship, but if you are getting physically attacked by someone from outside, you don't have other choice than to use the physical power to beat it, right? So you like we see now, we don't have any other options other than dealing with that.
Yes.
The other thing that you could use as they call it asymmetric approach, right? When you try something, if even you're smaller, as we are now towards Russia. Our army tries to use this asymmetric approach. We are using new tools, we're using new approaches that Russian army is not using. And in terms of society in general, we also didn't stop. You probably know that in Ukraine we have this great public procurement system, which is online electronic one, and it's still operational and developing. We also have DIA, the mobile platform where we have all our documents here. And right now, during war, they are adding new features to it. So they are developing it right now during the war, which is amazing to me. And I believe that you could be both, probably. You could continue working as normal as it was before, right? You could still do something. Of course, it will be limited because you have to deal with the other circumstances. But also, you don't have other choice rather than to answer with the physical aggression if you're being attacked. And that's really bad. That sucks because we have to slow down with our normal development and to deal with that. But probably,
let me just ask you one last
option.
Let me ask you one last question on this, which relates maybe also to European young innovators in other countries. Do you think that the climate crisis is equal to the physical aggression which you have now with the war?
I'm not sure how to answer that. We for sure are not thinking about the climate crisis right now in Ukraine.
Okay. You're dealing with the one first, and then the other.
It's like levels of being interrupted. Right now, we're being interrupted with something more, more immediate, something more dangerous during this time, even today, right? So you have to close level 1 to go to the level 2, and we were working in level 2 before, right? Working more. Yeah. Still, we are doing something, but of course, we are much limited with that. Still, we try. Still, as I told you, we still are working to develop a social entrepreneurship topic here, and we have some successes here in terms of actually a good fact. In social impact award this year, we had 20 teams, and in social impact award last year, we had only 10 teams. So it's even in some cases we're even growing. Okay. But of course, in general, we are not growing in terms of what we were doing before.
Papa, when you look at this issue of breaking the normalcy and the narratives, Poland has been very strong, especially the current government in trying to reestablish other narratives. What is the narrative which you think is young people are looking for in terms of dealing both with the war, the climate crisis, and also the post-COVID situation?
Oh, Peter, you are asking so challenging questions. I have to admit, this question which you ask Artem.
This is the European Young Innovators Festival. This is not just your average low-level academic organization here.
Yeah. So from my point of view, that what young entrepreneurs and innovators and young people are looking, it's this. I have this kind of sentence that talk builds, discord ruins. So we are looking for open communication, to rebuild the trust, to find the common ground that would help us provide some impact or innovate a solution that will have this feeling of cooperation, that familiarity. Yes, so we want to stand together. This is what I heard from the young entrepreneurs in Poland. So according to this very aggressive Polish government narrative, as you said, it's very hard for us and also for Ukrainian people which are staying with us, which are also staying longer, and they feel much more Polish right now than Ukrainian. So we want to rebuild this feeling of familiarity, of trust, of of support, also, that we can work together, that we can join together, cooperate, and look for the solutions for the situation. That's why, for example, this leadership program for women it's to give women the power and also skills when they want to come back to Ukraine to rebuild the civil society.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's this kind of narrative which I heard, and we are building. We're looking for grants for that, and we want to support that. So yeah, I would say that don't focus about this military crisis. We know it's here. About the climate crisis, I think it's a very, very important issue, and we are talking about the sustainability, of course, during that all, and we are putting this sustainability aspect in these models and in those workshops. But most important for us is that to rebuild this safety feeling for the people, that you are safe and you are welcome here. Mm-hmm. And together we can change something.
What you just said now is very much the agenda for our Graz meeting. So what you have given now in the last 3 minutes is what we want to do, live, experience, and share from the 26th of April to the 28th of April. And that's very, very important. And I will come back to you, as I have said also to Artem, that I want to come back to him also regarding what we need to do for Graz. Maximilian, when you look at what the reaction is from Tanja, from Artem, and also from Barbara regarding this, what I think is a very interesting, but also very important aspect, this master narrative, because it basically is the cushion of us, what is the horizon of our understanding, even, let's say, unaware understanding of how we sort things out. Where do you see in the three answers, the most important aspect for your own work? What do you take away from this conversation for your own work?
Also good question. I guess that I take a lot with me, but I heard two things that kind of don't really go together, and there's a crucial, and with a crucial meaning. I think Artem said interruption. So there's all those crises. They started with an interruption, right? And they are as long a crisis as we consider some things happening as an interruption. And it kind of, and that's the one thing. And the other thing was that to sort out what is now more important and then afterwards. So it's which is not possible if interruptions keep happening. So and it also ties into this feeling of safety. Is it favorable to regain this feeling of safety? Because those interruptions will keep happening, and interruptions by the biosphere, meaning extreme weather events, they will keep happening, right? We will be able to forget that the whole soil in somewhere in Germany tore away many houses. So right now we forgot about it, but it will keep happening again. And it's worse if both intersect, extreme weather phenomena caused by human-induced climate crisis, and armed conflict. So this is the worst situation that you can have. But you have this in Haiti, you have it in the Democratic Republic of Congo, you have it in those places where you have the worst conflicts there are. So I'd say the most important thing is to take those interruptions seriously, because they simply will keep happening. We don't have the luxury of locking us into a human-built world, because there is no such thing. So that's also something that we kind of learned in a really hurtful way, that something like this doesn't exist, and the non-human world simply keeps hitting at us, whether we like it or not. Often it's also the human world. Of course, an invasion by an army is something human, but it's also linked then to many non-human issues, like natural resources that the Russians might have been after in eastern Ukraine, etc., etc. So it's everything really complex, and we should take seriously what the world is telling us, and stop maybe a little bit talking about the world and let the world speak.
Thank you very much, Maximilian. I think all four of you presented at this very beginning of the European Young Innovators Festival a very clear picture of the sense of urgency which each of you feel in the various different kind of environments. And I think that's something which I think the European Young Innovators want, need, and also are required to respond to. I want to thank you very much for laying this out. In our next session, when we come back in 10 minutes or a little bit more, we look at the role of culture and creative industries regarding this sense of urgency, and also in which way they can do, and I like this word very much, which you used, Tanja, how to have a mending approach to things, you know, how to stitch things together, how to make it work again, not in the sense of that it will be perfect, and not that you get used to living in a ruptured world, but that you are not without the sense of solidarity and the trust that cooperation can work. I want to thank you very much for this wonderful panel. Thank you very much, Artem in Kiev. Thank you very much, Barbara in Warszawa. Thank you very much, Maximilian in Graz. And thank you very much, Tanja, for your high spirits in Vienna. Thank you.
Thank you. Artem, all the best to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Good.
you a lot.
Bye.
It was great
Talk
having
to
this
you.
discussion with you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.